In fact, in my personal practice, that makes the whole difference. How do you visualize them? They are like your very affectionate parents, and you come home demoralized, being bullied by elder children in the school, and your parents are waiting there to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. Next, Bodhisattva field. Visualize your two parents on the two sides, and even though you might have difficulty with your parents, it doesn't matter. The point is that the fact that people they start to have conflict with their parents is an indication of their being ordinary beings. And what we are doing here is we're trying to transcend the ordinariness. We're trying to reach beyond the state of ordinariness so that we are going to be least affected by external factors. So for that matter, visualize your two parents on the two sides, and all your family members, including your children around you, and all other dear sentient beings around you, living on the side, from Singapore, from Asia, from the world, from Milky Way galaxy, and from the entire universe. And here, again, how do you visualize? How do you do the visualization? Here you are the mother, and all others are like your children. Imagine, all other sentient beings, they come home demoralized, and you are there to give full love, affection, attention, embrace, to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as so special in your eyes. And the purpose of this practice, this is so important. This is so important. We should know this fact so well. Then you will have the blueprint of what the dharma is, what your dharma practice is like. So the purpose of this practice is to activate the final potential, ultimate treasure, the seed of our ultimate treasure of happiness that exists within each one of us. Like extracting gold out of the mixture of the gold and soil. In the ore form, you don't see the gold visible. You don't see the gold glowing. It's just a soil there. But experts can convince us that there is a gold there. Likewise, our mind, although there's the very precious gold, like the purity, the perfection like a sun is there within us. But why it is not visible at the moment is because that is obscured by the dirt, the soil-like mental defilements. So only when the soil is removed from the gold one by one, then the gold insides start to glow. And then when the soil is removed completely, the gold glows perfectly well. So likewise, when the defilements are gotten rid of fully, then the treasure inside us, the Buddha energy inside us, the gold of the Buddha energy inside us will glow perfectly in the form of three perfect qualities: perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power, which allows you to become like a sun to illuminate every atom in the universe, to awaken every mind of the dear sentient beings simultaneously. So this is when you become fully enlightened. So this treasure is within us. But why it is not visible now? Why I do not see it? Because it is defiled by the metal stains. And how to get rid of these metal stains? For that, first we have to know what these metal stains are, what is the nature of the metal stains. And to know this nature of the metal, to know the nature of the metal stains, we first need to know that this metal stain is of two kinds, the gross and the subtle, like the solid garlic and the smell of the garlic. So the solid garlic is also, garlic-like the metal stains, is also referred to as the afflictive obscurations, and the smell like garlic, as the smell of the garlic like the metal stain is known as the cognitive obscurations, the subtle one. The gross one, the presence of this gross one within us stops us from achieving freedom from samsara, or in other words, it stops us from achieving nirvana, stops us achieving nibbana. And whereas the subtle one stops us from achieving total awakening or Buddhahood. And the gross one is consisted of three kinds: contaminated karmas, afflictions, and the active seeds. And all these three boil down to boil down to what is known as the self-grasping ignorance. In fact, the root of all the afflictive obscurations is the self-grasping ignorance. And the self-centered attitude, the cognitive obscuration, the subtle stain, the smell of the garlic-like stain is known as the cognitive obscuration, the presence of which stops us from achieving Buddhahood. And so that is nothing but the stains of the self, the subtle smell, subtle stain of the self-grasping ignorance. So in short, we see that given that the metal stains are somehow either rooted to the self-grasping ignorance or the subtle stain of this self-grasping ignorance, the remedy to be employed should be the wisdom. Ignorance, just as darkness can be eliminated by introducing the light, it is only through introducing the light of the wisdom that the darkness of self-grasping ignorance and the subtle stains of self-grasping ignorance can be eradicated. Okay, so what is the wisdom? So this wisdom is the wisdom to see the reality as it is, the wisdom to see the emptiness. So which for the last many days, we've already discussed about that to some extent, and today is going to be again the main penetration into what constitutes this wisdom. Okay, this is what we're going to study. So this wisdom is like the counterforce of the self-grasping ignorance, afflictive obscurations, as well as cognitive obscurations. So this wisdom, to what extent it can get rid of the afflictive obscurations, to what extent it can get rid of the cognitive obscurations, determined by the driving force, the motivation. If the motivation is just the renunciation, at the most it will take you to get rid of the afflictive obscurations and make you to achieve the state of nibbana, or the freedom from the miseries of samsara. And whereas if the motivation is more than that, the bodhicitta, unconditional love of bodhicitta, wishing to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, grounded on renunciation, then this wisdom of emptiness will then have the capacity to get rid of all the mental stains, including the cognitive obscurations, thus making you to achieve the total awakening or Buddhahood. So this being the reality, this is what forms the blueprint of a path. Knowing this, then you will be able to see through the two main agendas of a person should have. Be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself. Okay, with this in mind, and imagine that all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're watching us, and you are being followed by your true parents and all the other sentient beings, and you are leading this. Let us turn to page 2 and recite the prayers. As we recite the prayers, just see how your mind can flow in the meaning, rather than just the words flowing. The words flow, the meanings flow. That is extremely important. With this, then the transformation will take place. And tears by great compassion, you taught the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, I pay homage. And tears by great compassion, you taught the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, I pay homage. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no coming, no going, no substance, no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha. Mothers of the Buddhas and of the heroes and Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all leads seekers to complete peace. Who through the knowledge of past causes also help bring migrators to achieve the aims of the world. And through possession of omniscience, the subduer set forth the varieties of all aspects. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Om Yedharama Prabhavam Hetum Te Shantatagato Hyavathat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashramanaya Swaha. Om Yetharama Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Teshan Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamanahe Swaha. Om Yedharama Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Bhati Mahashamanaya Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well as taught by the grace here. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha. I go for refuge until I go for refuge. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Page 6, Foundation of All Good Qualities, page 6. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the priceless freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is really meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtues and non-virtues come and follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatiating and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great question arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Train in Supreme Bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of freeing my greedy beings. Even if developed Bodhicitta, but who don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless and practice the Bodhisattva vow with great energy. Once I pacified the distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please let it regenerate quickly within my mind stream, the unified path of common abiding special inside. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the Supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing true attainments is keeping pure vows in Samaya. As I have become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pleasures in my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, as in Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who showed the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajratara. Okay, we are on stanza 56. Okay. Reasons that establish the view of emptiness, establishing the selflessness of person. So now exactly, what exactly constitutes this selflessness? So what we were discussing yesterday was that, say, the negative emotions, they arise when you as a person interacts with the objects, other phenomena. So there's a person here and the phenomena they are outside. So phenomena here referring to the phenomena other than the self, one. And don't say there must be a sense of openness, there must be a sense of, say, the flexibility. When you speak about the subject-object, there are 3 kinds. The person is a subject, the consciousness or the mind as the subject, and your speech as a subject, the sound, the voice, the sound as the subject. There are 3 subjects: the person, the consciousness, and the speech. Okay. So sometimes use the dimension of, say, the subject in the context of the mind, speaking when relating to emptiness of the mind and emptiness of the object. This is how we understand the emptiness of the emptiness of the object and the subject. And other, for example, what is being done here is instead of the mind, we talk about the person and the phenomena. This is another way of classifying. Still, another very important way of classification is, say, the self, the person, the subject, the self as the person, the subject, and then all of the phenomena represented by the mind. Right? All of the phenomena represented by the mind. So, in other words, the emptiness of the mind and the emptiness of the person. Right? So, a person representing the phenomena other than the mind, other than the person. Phenomena. So the mind. Say the person and the mind. So the mind representing phenomena other than the person and a person. So why the mind is seen as representing all of the phenomena is that every phenomena, to speak, say, in a very broad sense, everything, including the self, even this person, even everything is nothing but the radiance of one's own mind. How your mind views things, on that basis, then things arise. So this is what is known as the subtle clear-light mind. It manifests in the form of the whole universe. This is one way of understanding it. Another way is the emptiness. Like what the mind does for all phenomena, emptiness does for all phenomena. Emptiness is the basic, the fabric from which all phenomena arise. Emptiness is ultimate truth. From this, all the conventional truth arises. One. Then say what is more explicitly presented many of the texts. If we get time, very likely not today, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, one of the 2 days, very likely day after tomorrow. The last day we have, we have class, right? Okay, last day we will do the emptiness meditation. So there, all these things will come into play. For example, say the sadhana of Shri Heruka sadhana, which is so powerful, and then the stanza said by His Holiness 14th Dalai Lama pertaining to proliferating the Buddha Dharma of all the traditions, Tibetan Buddhist traditions. So there also His Holiness said the same thing. So there's more pertaining to the Mahamudra practice. Okay, so the thing is that don't ever be rigid. Say if you see in this text, or the substance of person, substance of phenomena, right? Some people, they would be so rigid. Later on, the substance of mind and substance of phenomena. Oh no, it should be person and phenomena. No, don't be too rigid. You have to know all the possibilities. Last time I told you that the people in this hall can be classified, can be grouped into two, right? Say the boys and the non-boys. Because if I say boys and girls, there's a third category maybe there, right? The boys and the non-boys, right? And then let's say those who are 30 years. Is there anyone who is 30 exact? Okay, 30 exact. So those who are 30 years and non-30 years. Right? So there are so many ways of classifications. Don't make your mind rigid with only one way. So say the subject and object. So the point is that somehow you interact with the world, then the happiness, miseries, the anxiety, stress, tension, all these things arise when you interact with the world. When you say I interact with the world, there is this I who interacts with the world, one. Number two, this I who actually interacts, your mind interacts. So mind as the subject interacts with the world, number two. Another would be that your speech, right? You say something, nasty things, whereas unskillfully you say something and the people are offended, and then it creates lots of problems, unnecessary. Again, the sound can be the subject, and what you said becomes the object, right? There are so many ways, so keep your mind very flexible. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to say here is that in this text, the subject was spoken of in relation to the person. I, the person. Each one of us as the person. And then the phenomena with which you interact. Phenomena other than the person. You're getting it? So this is known as, so for this, when we see the phenomena so objectively real, when you see yourself, agent, the subject as so objectively real, then what happens is that these two things, object, subject, interact, and the sound of the miseries, tension, stress, they are bound to arise. So therefore we need to see the selflessness of the phenomena with which you interact, and the selflessness of the person who interacts with the person who interacts with the phenomena. So we need to see the selflessness of the person and selflessness of phenomena. So here Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra explains the selflessness of person first, followed by selflessness of phenomena. Whereas Acharya Chandrakirti, in his text, Entry in the Middle Way, Madhyamaka Avatar, he explained the emptiness of the selflessness of phenomena first, followed by selflessness of person. So don't be too rigid. It should be selflessness of person because Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra said it. No, you can do it anyways. Finally, your job is to realize the selflessness of the person, realize the selflessness of phenomena. So whichever comes first, it doesn't matter. For some people, through your karmic connection, through the way the imprint is laid, sometimes you realize the selflessness of phenomena first. And sometimes the other people may realize selflessness of person first. And some texts, they said that it is the selflessness of a person that one realizes first. And some say, no, it is the selflessness of phenomena, it doesn't matter. You have to realize something. Right. So this is where people are so rigid, they saw one text, and then they stick to this, and they show blind eye to other things. Practically, just be very practical. Practice it, and you see that for you it may be substance of phenomenon that you realize first. For others, it may be substance of person that you realize first. What Lama Tsongkhapa said is that substance of person, realizing substance of person is relatively easier as compared to realizing substance of phenomena. This is what Lama Tsongkhapa said. Lama Tsongkhapa, his style of writing is extremely the sensible, extremely, say, the wise, extremely the what do you call it? Say, the very objective. His approach. So what he did, he never said that substance of person should be realized first, substance of phenomenon should be realized later. He never said it. He never did he say that substance of the phenomenon should be realized first, followed by substance of phenomenon person. What he did mention is that substance of person is relatively easier to be realized as compared to the substance of phenomenon. That's it. Easier doesn't mean that you have to realize it first. This is not a connotation. Okay, so the point is that you have to realize something. Right? And then that your negative emotions should subside. That's the whole purpose. Okay, with that in mind, simply because the style of teaching, the order is different. It differs between the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra's presentation and Acharya Chandrakirti's presentation. It doesn't mean that the one is wrong and one is right. Both are correct. It doesn't matter. Right? Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you take the soup first or the chow-mein later. Chow-mein first or just soup later, it doesn't matter. Right? Okay. So people make fuss of it. No, eat dish with order, dash with order. And in the meanwhile, you are wasting your energy. When it comes to actual understanding, what is emptiness? Then your energy is gone. Okay, the stanza 56 is the reasons that establish the view of emptiness, establishing the substance of person. Substance of person. Okay, so substance of person. As a part of this, the rejection of the non-Buddhist philosophers' presentation of the self, viewing the self to be so objective, real. That part, because that we're going to do how the self doesn't exist objective. From there, the non-Buddhist presentations, they're going to so detail. The mind is the self, then the self is different from the mind and the body. So all this can be easily rejected, and I'll skip those parts because they will create more confusion if we don't spend more time on this one. So whatever is the case, the point that we need to know is the distinction between Buddhist philosophy and the non-Buddhist philosophy, right? Okay, so of course there are so many distinctions made in 10 systems. So what I'd like to present to you pertaining to how we understand it now, overall speaking, is that the non-Buddhists, there are two main, say, positions which Buddhism differs from. One is the concept of creator concept of God, and the other is the concept of the self, the person. Right? And then with the concept of the creator, it is not that somebody who accepts creator is non-Buddhist, who accepts non-creator, who rejects creator is Buddhist. This is not the classification. So this is not a very clear, the division on the basis of somebody accepts creator God, rejects creator God, does not 100% give you a connotation, understanding of what the Buddhist philosophy is. Whereas the next one, which is the pertaining to self, the self, that is the one which makes a very clear distinction between Buddhist and non-Buddhist, the philosophers and philosophy. Okay, so with the concept of creator, which will be rejected later on, the creator, say generally speaking, except for the Jainism and one part of Samkhya, right, and Buddhism, the rest almost like maybe they were the philosophical traditions coming up. So that's different. Say, in the olden times, except for these three, all accept the concept of the creator God. Monotheism, polytheism. That depends up to the various the philosophical traditions, but they accept some form of creator God. One. But it doesn't mean that who reject the creator God should be Buddhist philosophers or Buddhist philosophy. This is not the case, because within this group who rejects the creator God consists Buddhism, Jainism, and one part of Samkhya. Samkhya advocating non-God, right? Okay, so 3. Now with the very refined distinction made, that can be on the basis of which we can make the distinction between Buddhist and non-Buddhist, is the concept of the self. Concept of self. The self as permanent, independent, and unitary. Self to be permanent, independent, unitary. This is something all non-Buddhist traditions they believe. All non-Buddhist philosophers they believe, and Buddhism rejects that. Rejects the self to be permanent, unitary, and independent. This, if you distinguish the Buddhist philosophy and non-Buddhist philosophy on the basis of this concept, that would be extremely wise way and extremely precise way of make the distinction. Okay, so with this, 56. If there were something called a self, there would be something to be afraid. Meaning that if there is something called self, meaning objectively existent self, or say if there is something called, say, a permanent unitary independent self, then what happens? This self cannot be changed. It's permanent, unitary, independent. It cannot be changed. If this self does not change, then this self, which self? I, you, right? Okay, what is this self like? Is that self divine, pure, or full of miseries? Full of miseries self, if it is permanent, unitary, independent, it cannot be changed. If it cannot be changed, we cannot improve. We cannot be freed from suffering. Then it's very scary. It's very scary, right? So therefore, if there was something called a self, objectively existent self, or permanent, unitary, independent self, there would be something to be afraid of. You should be really afraid that, then my misery will never come to an end. You should be afraid of. But as one finds self nowhere, but since one finds objectively existent self or permanent, unitary, independent self nowhere, who is there to experience fear? Why should we be afraid of? And particularly in the context of the understanding of the emptiness of self, that the self does not exist objectively. Right? Okay, this is the exercise which we're going to do just in a few minutes. We'll do that. So when we see that, what I see as a self, do you see a self now? Hey, just see. If there is a self, yes, there's a self there. There's a self there. Okay, but this self, how we see this self, if you subject this self to ultimate analysis, the self disappears. And from this, you will get some form, if you get it correctly, initially you may feel a little bit shocked, that, right, a little bit of jerk, that the self is not there, I'm not there, this feeling will come. You getting it? Okay, it does not mean the self doesn't exist. Self does exist. How? Subjectively, not objectively. But how we see, so when you say that, yes, I'm here, you are saying what? Yes, I'm objectively here. This is what we are saying. Verbally you may not say this, but how we associate objectively existent self and the self, these two glued together in a mind because of this self-grasping ignorance since time immemorial till now. You're getting it? So therefore when you say that, yes, I do exist in your mind, you are saying that I do exist objectively, right? So when you subject the self to ultimate analysis, self disappears, right? If the self doesn't disappear, objectively existent self disappears. And yet you get the feeling that the self disappears. Because in your mind, self and objective self, these two are seen as the same. Because of the self-grasping ignorance, chronic self-grasping ignorance, which we are so addicted to since time immemorial. Okay, so it's said that, but as one finds self nowhere meaning one does not find the self as objectively existent anywhere, who is there to experience fear? Where is this objectively existent self which feels a fear, right? So when you get a tinge of the experience or a glimpse of the experience of emptiness of the self, then you see that instantly you will get a relief, right? This congestion, the fear, the basis of the fear, the self, I'm afraid of the situation, so forth, it instantly dissolves. So when it dissolves, fear is gotten rid of. Who is there to experience fear? Okay, now 57. Now what exactly does it mean by emptiness of the self? What exactly does it mean by that the self does not exist objectively? Or say from the Theravada, from the Pali Buddhism point of view, this is known as the anatta, concept of anatta. In the Sanskrit tradition, it is known as the anatma concept. Anatma, anatta, same. Anatta is a Pali language. Anatta, selflessness. Anatman is Sanskrit, selflessness. Same, it's the same. It's just a language difference. Anatta and anatman. Or anatman or anatma. Anatman, anatma is same. This is Sanskrit. Anatta is Pali, meaning selflessness. It's the same. Okay, in Tibetan, dagme. Dagme. Da is a self, me is less or no. No self or selfless. So here's what? Selfless what? Short form of selflessness of objective reality. Right? It's a short form, not to be taken literally. Okay. So with this, then the question arises, how can I then, okay, this is amazing thus far since what? Which date was that? First day?
18.
Huh? 18. From 18. From 18 till today. Today's what? 24. How many days finished? 7 days gone. 6 days gone and 7 days running. Okay, so 6 days gone, 6 days, we have to see emptiness, we have to see anatta, we have to see the selflessness. Once you get a glimpse of this, then the fear will dissolve. Now tell me, what exactly is emptiness? Right? Okay, this question. So here comes 57, 58 and 59. Okay, so how that is explained here is in a great detail as compared to what you see presented by Arya Nagarjuna in Fundamental Wisdom of the Middle Way. Mula Madhyamika Karika, Fundamental Wisdom of the Middle Way. Whereas in Mula Madhyamika Karika, the distinctive feature is that there Arya Nagarjuna's presentation is very comprehensive. And here, the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra's presentation is very detailed. Right? Detail. So what we can do is that whatever we have here, take it. Whatever you see in Arya Nagarjuna's presentation, you take it, you put them together, and then make your own, design your own practice. Right? Okay. Finally, the point is that the Arya Nagarjuna of Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, he is no doubt is an indirect disciple of Arya Nagarjuna. Indirect disciple, meaning that between two of them is like 500, very likely about like very likely about 500 years. Likely about 500 years gap. Right? So, but no doubt Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra referred to Arya Nagarjuna's text a lot, and he became a scholar because of by dependence on Arya Nagarjuna's text. So Arya Nagarjuna's text is like the masterpiece, and what we're learning, so they are like commentary for us to understand Arya Nagarjuna's text, which in turn should help us to flesh out the Buddha's own final thought of emptiness. Okay. With this, okay. I'm just wondering if the TBC, if some can help to get those books, The Blaze of the Non-Dual Bodhicittas. Okay, so basically, as Sunamla said, this is actually the compilation of many years of compilation of the root texts, not the teachings of His Holiness, but the root texts on the basis of which His Holiness gave teachings. So it consists of the root texts. And particularly when I was translating for His Holiness, I kept compiling the texts which are very precious. And of course, His Holiness gave teachings on them, very blessed. And just kept gathering them. And then meanwhile, from many years of my studies with my teachers, incredibly precious teachers, so the points which I see as very important, I did not miss to bring them, include them here as well. So this is the effort of many years' effort, and so many hands involved, so many people, they contributed to this. For example, the layout, and then the footnotes, then the bibliograph, then endnotes, and what is that? The glossary, so many hands involved. Okay. And then finally, say TBC asked if they can reproduce it here. And of course, it is not me who should be the one, but it's the Tibet House, Delhi, the Cultural Center of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, give the permission, because what the TBC is doing is a great job for Dharma and for sentient beings. So therefore, this is a great joy, rejoice for Tibet House to see that somebody is making great contribution to Dharma and sentient beings. So therefore, this is the TBC's, the kindness that we're all getting this book. Okay, and then of course, as Sonam said, to defray the printing cost. So you're most welcome to make some donations to TBC. Okay, good. So with this in mind, since that somebody who is able to sacrifice or take out time, like 9 days in stretch, this is very difficult. And particularly in Singapore, it's very difficult. Yet you did it, which means that no doubt that itself is indication of how you feel connected with Dharma. So, given that this is your background, this book, you just browse through this, and you'll see that this is a great, great, great treasure, right? Those of you who are from the retreat, chanting retreat, and I think last year as well. Last year, we had this book. The blue one is the same. Yeah, the last one, the blue one is the same, but it has the many additional things, and it's more the refined pertaining to the addition of the glossary, endnotes, and so forth. Otherwise, the 80% is the same. What is here was there in the other book as well. Okay, so anyway, this is one. Yes, thank you. Wow, very precise. Okay, so efficient. TBC is so efficient. This is the blue one. Thank you, Perila. Thank you. Okay, good. So what we do is that, and then for your information, some people may be a little confused that even this, perhaps like maybe 10 editions came out already, 10, 12 editions came out already, and they may vary slightly, right? So even this red one, the Bliss, even the title changed. Earlier it was Prayer and Meditation Manual. Now it is The Blaze of the Non-Dual Bodhicittas, and this will still change later on. Right? Study and meditation, it should be study, reflection, meditation. Right? To tell people that we have to study, reflect, meditation. All these three things should be, not just only meditation. Study, reflection. Also, there's always reason why these are things. Okay, said. And the blaze of non-dual bodhicittas, meaning that what really blazes, what really shines, what can really shine in you is your bodhicittas, not anything else. Which bodhicitta? Non-dual bodhicittas, two bodhicittas, conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. Not in isolation, but in non-duality. Right? There's always reason for choosing of these labels. Okay. And of course, the dedication for the long life and swift fulfillment of the wishes of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. So all these things happening simply because of the sheer blessing, inspiration, advice from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is the sun illuminating the world today. So therefore, this is dedicated for his long life and the fulfillment of his prayers and aspirations. Okay, with this in mind, okay, let us turn to page 20. Okay, let's turn to page 205. 205. Okay, so day after tomorrow, they will do the meditation emptiness, and the more important than the actual meditation, what I'd like to do is give just say the panoramic view of how a meditation, how you should design your own daily meditation on emptiness, right? How you should design daily emptiness, and of course we will take our time to meditate on emptiness as well. So then the meditation on emptiness, if you have like say a very leisure 1 hour, how should you meditate on emptiness? And if you have say half an hour, how? Then if you have like 10 minutes, and if you have only 2 minutes, right? And less than 2 minutes, sorry. Right? Okay, less than 2 minutes, sorry. In fact, once I was, I think like almost, how many years ago? Almost 8 years ago. My very two dear friends, I don't think, maybe they're upstairs, I'm not too sure. Danny and Tina. Danny and Tina. Yes, they're here. Okay, so two of them took me to one eye hospital, ophthalmologist. And ophthalmologist, he was about to prescribe the medicines. And I already had consultation with the doctor, very good ophthalmologist in India. And they prescribed me 4 eye drops, each 3 times a day, which means 12 times a day. For me, it's impossible. So, from the Singaporean doctor also, he was about to do that. And I, in a very skillful way, nice way, was stopping him. I told him, yes, I was in India, and the doctor prescribed me 4 drops, each to be put 3 times a day, 12. It's impossible. Looking at my timetable, he sensed what I was saying. Then he said, okay, look. Enlightenment. he said, enlightenment, chronic illness, no shortcut, sorry. No shortcut for enlightenment, no shortcut for chronic illness, eye problem, no shortcut, I'm sorry. So likewise, so less than 2 minutes, I'm sorry. Less than 2 minutes of meditation emptiness. So yeah, okay, 2 minutes, I'm very gentle, right? Okay, 2 minutes, we will teach how to do meditation in 2 minutes. Okay, so with this in mind, page, okay, by the way, I'm very grateful to Tina and Danny for being so kind since many years. Yeah, very reliable friends. Thank you so much. Okay, so 205. 205 in the middle. In fact, this whole section from 202 through to 208 is compilation of very important stanzas, many of which are being used by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and His Holiness encourages the people to use these stanzas in a meditation. Okay, this is compilation that, and then we added some more from the texts which we studied from our teachers. Okay. Now, so the actual meditation emptiness, right? Emptiness of the selflessness of person. Selflessness of person. So how we go about doing this is, okay, this is very important. I should not miss sharing this with you. And okay, let's say entities and isolates. Entities and isolates. This is very important. I'd like to share with you. Entities and isolates. Okay, say how many things are there in my hand? One, right? Okay, say one thing is there. And what is that one thing? The flower. Okay, say, right? Okay, how many things are there in my hand? One thing, what is that? One sweet, right? One sweet. Okay. Now, say my question to you. The color of the sweet, is it in my hand? Color of the sweet, is it in my hand? Yes. Color of the sweet, is it sweet? No. So color of the sweet is not the sweet. The sweet is in my hand. Color of the sweet is also in my hand. And these two are not one. Not one means more than one. More than one means minimum two. So how many things are there in my hand now? Huh? Which is that? Color of the sweet or the sweet? Not the color of the sweet. Huh? Entity of sweet is there. Entity of color is there. Entity of color is also there. Entity of color and entity of sweet, these two are different. Right? So there are two things. If you say that there are two things, right? If you say that there are two things and you give $1 to the shopkeeper, there are two things there. The shopkeeper will say, please don't disturb me, go to mental hospital. Right? So therefore, this is a problem. You cannot resolve this problem. Say, how many things are there? You have to say one. If you say more than one, ordinary people will send you to medical hospital. If you say one, there's a problem. Of course, there are too many things. The sweet is there, the color of the sweet is there, impermanence of the sweet is there, existence of the sweet is there, selflessness of sweet is there. So many things are there. You're getting it? How to resolve this problem? Right? If you say one, there's a problem. If you say more than one, there's a problem. If you say one was the problem, it contradicts with the reasons. Because it's not only the sweet, the color of the sweet is there, selflessness of the sweet is there, impermanence of the sweet is there, tactility of the sweet is there, absence of tiger is there. Right? It's not a tiger, not a tiger is also there. There are so many things that are there. If you say many things are there, it contradicts with the conventional world. So you say one, there's a problem. You say no more than one, there's a problem. Right? If you say nothing is there, it's even worst. Right? Then it's going to nihilism. So you say anything, there's a problem. So how to resolve this problem? This thing can be resolved only if you know the concept of the entities and the isolates. You're getting it? This is so precious concept, particularly for your emptiness meditation, particularly for your anatta meditation. Anatta, anatman, emptiness, this meditation. Okay, how? Let's say, say the same object can be seen in two ways. Object, subject. You're getting it? Same object can be seen in two ways. Object and the subject. Okay, when you go to the object, what do you mean by object? What do you mean by going towards the object? What do you mean by going towards the subject? Going towards the object means, okay, if you ask me, where is the sweet? I will say, it's there. I'll point to sweet. I don't point to my eyes. Right? It's there. Okay, is it correct, not correct? Okay, next question. Where's the color of this? Where's the color of the sweet? Is there. Correct, not correct? When I go towards the object, I point to the same object for the two reference of the labels. For the reference of the two different labels. Right? The sweet, the label sweet, and the label color of the sweet. For these two labels, I pointed to the same object for the reference of the two labels. So that is known as the entities. Entity-wise, I point to the same object. Entity meaning when I go towards the object. Entity means when I go towards the object. Okay, when I go towards the object, the sweet and the color of the sweet, and whatever you may talk about, any characteristics of the sweet, any characteristic, the emptiness of the sweet, the absence of tiger of the sweet, the existence of the sweet, whatever is all on the sweet. On the object, all the object and its all is millions of characteristics, they are all entity-wise same. Entity-wise, you point to the same object. Okay, this is known as entity-wise same. Now, isolate. Isolate means you go to the subject. Don't go towards the object, go towards the subject. Right? Subject, you look for the two reference of the two different labels. Okay, let's say easier would be the table. Easier would be the table. Let's say the table and the top plank of the table. Table and top plank of the table. Okay, table and the top plank of the table. Are these two entity-wise one or different? Entity-wise meaning towards the, when you go towards the object, is the one or different? Hey, and it was one or different. Table and the top plank of the table. What? Entity was one. Huh? Okay, don't trust my face. Right? Your confidence shakes when I show you a strange face, right? Don't trust my face. Remain confident, right? Then even if you go wrong, I cannot do anything. Don't worry. You should not worry. Right? You're so scared. Right? Don't be scared. Okay, just remain confident. If it is really wrong, then I have to convince you. Right? I cannot say it's wrong and punish you. No, don't worry. Right? I have to convince you. Then you know, okay, this was wrong. Now I got the understanding. Okay. Now the point is the table and the top of the table. These two entity-wise one or different? One. Okay, which means that when you go to the object, not going to the subject. Going to the object is known as the entities. Going to the subject is known as the isolates. Okay, this is what we didn't know. Okay, going to the object, entity-wise, we see that these two are one. We point to the same object. Whereas the table is here. Whereas the top line of the table is here. We point to the same object. This is the entity-wise the same. Now the next, isolate. Isolate meaning, say in your subject. You have to go towards the subject. How should you go towards the subject for the table? Table is the object, not the subject. Don't worry. Okay, let's say table and the top line of the table. Close your eyes. Don't look at the table. Don't look at the object now. Think. The subject means you think about it. Think of the table. Few seconds, think of the table. Okay, now open your eyes. Now think of the top plank of the table. Top plank of the table. Okay, tell me, what's the difference? Anyone? Did you see any difference? When you think, is there any difference between the two? Is there anyone who likes to share with us? Anyone who likes to share with us? Anyone? No? Huh? Yes?
To me, that appears to the mind as two different things.
Yes.
One, the plank, the other one is the table.
Okay, your name?
Nine.
Lai. Okay.
Nine.
Nai.
8, 9, 10.
Okay, 9. Okay. Some people say that once somebody said a joke. I did not understand the joke. Somebody said that, okay, 6, 7, 8, right? And there's no 9. Because 7, 8, 9. Somebody said, I do not understand it. Okay, 9 is there. Okay. Okay. Okay, Brother 9. So what Brother 9 said is correct. Say in your thought, when you think of the table, or when you think about the top plank of the table, it's just a top plank without legs. And when you think about the table, you see the top plank plus the legs. So there, in your thought, these two are two different things. What is two different things? In your thought, this is known as isolated wise different. You're getting it? Okay, this is So important. So now tell me, and the table and the top line of the table, are these two one or different? Entity-wise, one. Isolated-wise, different. Very good. Okay, don't forget it. You're getting it? Okay, now tell me, with this understanding, what is this? The flower. Is this a tiger? It's not a tiger. So this object which is in my hand is absent of tiger. Yes? So the absence of tiger is one of the characteristics of this flower. Yes, no? So the flower is the characterized and the absence of tiger is the characteristic. So are these two entity-wise one or different? Wow, Wayne is very stern. Yes, it's one. Okay. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you. Okay, so the flower and the absence of the tiger, these two are entity-wise one. Whereas the flower is here. Whereas the absence of the tiger of the flower is here. Right? Entity-wise one. Isolate-wise one or different? Okay, if there's somebody who can explain this to us, how the flower and the absence of the tiger of the flower, these two are isolated-wise different. If you can explain this to me, this would be the greatest gift for all of us. Anybody? Very quick. Yes, whoever likes to share with us should use the mic. Okay, so this is a little technical, and some of you already have the answer. Okay, let me say this again. The flower, right? When you say the flower, what comes to your mind? A beautiful object comes to your mind. When you say absence of tiger of this flower, somehow you tie this flower with the tiger, absence of tiger, right? You're getting it? So, see, the absence of tiger, it is not tiger. When you say it is not tiger, there's nothing really beautiful there. Right? It is not tiger. Okay, so what? It's a flower, it's beautiful. So the flower gives you appeal, and the absence of tiger doesn't really give you any appeal. One. Number two, characterized and the characteristics. Parts and whole. They are always isolated-wise different and entity-wise one. Don't forget it. Characterized and characteristics. Relationship between the characterized and the characteristics is always entity-wise one and isolated-wise different. Likewise, parts, whole and the parts. Always entity-wise one and isolated-wise different. Don't forget it. Okay, with this in mind, okay, now let's say, what it says? Hey, they say group A and group B. Group A, group B. Let's say group A here, group B upstairs. Or let's say ground floor, group A, group B, upstairs, again group A, group B, too. Right side and left side. Group A, group B. Okay, group A looks at this object through your naked eyes. Group B looks at it through electron microscope. Meaning group A looks at it through conventional analysis. Group B looks at it through ultimate analysis. Right? Okay, in other words, ultimate analysis, example, say the electron microscope. So group A, what do you see? What is this object? Flower. Group B, what is this object? Okay, some people will say this is millions of atoms. Very good. Now tell me, describe this object related to the flower. What is this object? Absence of flower or emptiness of flower disappears. In other words, just atoms are left. Right? Okay, now tell me. There are two things. One little bit of exercise. Say you're all looking at this through electron microscope. You are seeing the millions of atoms? Yes, no? Yes. You are seeing the absence of flower? Yes. Good. So, absence of flower and the millions of atoms, are these two entity-wise one or different? Again, same. Where are the millions of atoms? Is here. Where's the absence of flower? Is here. Right? Entity-wise same. Isolated-wise same or different? Hey. Millions of atoms and absence of flower. Isolated was one or different? Wow. Okay, now the tone is even stronger. Okay, is there anyone who likes to share with us how these two answers was different? Yes. Mike.
Thank you, Geshe. It's just something that comes to my head. I don't know whether it's correct. When he says
Millions of atoms.
Millions of atoms.
And the absence of the flower.
Absence of the flower. It's like, when I look at it under microscope, I see millions of atoms.
Yes.
Okay, but when I think of absence of flower, it's like, either I think it is or it's not. In that sense, I don't know how to express it.
Okay. In fact, say it's a matter of articulation. Is this your first time to this kind of philosophy?
Try to express the thought, yeah.
No, what I'm saying, is this your first time into this philosophy?
I heard of it before, but one is like you negate or you think what it is not rather than what it is. So it's like if it's this, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that, and then you compare them. That makes a differentiation.
Okay, very good. So in fact, okay, say this, your name? Jovis. Okay. What Jovis said is very good. Okay, let's say that again. It invariably takes me to explain what is positive phenomena, what is negative phenomena. Right? Okay, let's say that what is the difference between these two things? What is my left hand? Flower. What is my right hand? Nothing is there. Absence of the flower is there. Absence of flower, there's my right hand. Okay, in my left hand is the flower, and in my right hand is absence of flower is there. So in both hands there is something there. One is absence of flower, one is flower. Okay, what's the difference between these two things? What's the difference between these two things? Yes. Choice, tell me. Say, so here, this flower, from the object, it tells you that I'm a flower. So from the object, it tells you that I'm a flower. So here there's nothing there to say that I'm the absence of the flower. There's no object there. You're getting it? So this object which directly comes to your mind, is known as the positive phenomena. A phenomena which a mind cognizes. Okay, first we have to explain the negative phenomena, then the positive phenomena becomes easier. Negative phenomenon is a phenomenon, say, absence of the flower is in my right hand. You agree with me? Absence of flower is in my right hand. How do I know that? How do you know the absence of the flower in my right hand? By explicitly negating the presence of a flower. Right? Okay, absence of the flower is the object, is a phenomena which the mind cognizes through explicitly negating the presence of a flower. You're getting it? Okay, let's say this again. Absence of a flower is a phenomena which a mind cognizes through explicitly negating the presence of the flower. Right? So, such a phenomena is known as negative phenomena. Any phenomena which a mind cognizes through explicitly negating the object of negation is known as negative phenomena. Now, the flower on the other hand, flower is a phenomena which a mind cognizes not through explicitly negating the object of negation. You don't have to explicitly negate something. Is there a flower just comes to your mind? That is known as a positive phenomena. And whereas this is positive phenomena, whereas you know something, absence of flower, there's no tiger, absence of objective existence. What is the absence of objective existence? Hey, what is absence of objective existence? Emptiness, right? Okay, don't pretend as though like you have not heard this before. This is what we have been hearing for the last 6 days, right? Always emptiness, emptiness, emptiness of objective existence, no objective existence, everything's like illusion. Okay, so the absence of the objective existence is a positive phenomena or a negative phenomena? Absence of objective phenomena, what? Absence of objective existence is a positive phenomena or a negative phenomena? Negative phenomena. How? Because that is the phenomena which a mind cognizes through explicitly negating the object of negation. You getting it? The flower. Flowers are positive phenomena or negative phenomena? Positive phenomena. How? This is a phenomena which a mind cognizes through not explicitly negating the object of negation. You getting it? Okay. Now with this, our question back to our main question. The flower and the absence. The flower and what? The flower. What question did I ask to Chovis? Okay, billions of atoms. Say yes. You are looking at through electron microscope. So what are you seeing? You are seeing two things. One, the billions of atoms. Other, absence of a flower. So these two things, are these two entity-wise one or different? Billions of atoms that you're seeing and the absence of flower that you're seeing, are these two entity-wise one or different? One. Very good. Wow. Okay, this entity-wise one. Very good. Isolated-wise one or different? Different. How come? How come? Anyone? Anyone who likes to give their answer? How the millions of atoms here and the absence of flower here, these two are isolated-wise different. How? Huh? From the mind, how? From the mind, how these are different? How? Okay, in your mind, these two appears different. How?
One you engage in a positive manner, one you engage in a negative manner.
Thank you. Okay, combined together is a wonderful answer. One is millions of atoms is a positive phenomenon, and the absence of the flower is the negative phenomena, right? How these two appear is very different. One comes to our mind directly, and the other comes to mind through explicitly negating another object. You getting it? So therefore, one is positive phenomena, one is a negative phenomena. These two cannot be entity-wise, isolated-wise, the same. It should be, these two should be isolated-wise different. Okay, very good. Now with this in mind, okay, having said this, now our job is, okay, sit upright. Sit upright. We are on the verge to do a little bit of meditation, emptiness of the self, anatta or anatman, emptiness. On the verge to do, not yet. Okay. Okay. Now the point is that, say, when we subject the self to the ultimate analysis, okay, this was actually what I think last year or 2 years ago, I'm not too sure. 2 years ago, I was in Thailand, and then my friend, the Venerable Abbot, young Abbot, Venerable Abbot, the Tan, he took me to another, the very highly respected another Abbot, very senior monk. He took me there. During a meeting, I just asked him, how common is it for the abbot and the venerable monk teachers to teach anatta, emptiness, selflessness, to the common people? This was what I asked. And the respectable abbot, he did not give a direct answer. He said that, oh, anatta is a very complicated topic. And he left it like this. Right? Okay, so I didn't mean to say nothing to comment on. The point is that, no doubt, this is a very complicated topic, right? Whether it is Theravada tradition, whether it is Chinese Mahayana tradition, whether it's the Tibetan Buddhism, all have to keep in mind this anatta is anatta, anatman, emptiness. This is the final legacy of the Buddha Shakyamuni for the beings that the beings can be liberated from the fears of samsara, the miseries of samsara, right? So this is something which we have to do, irrespective of how difficult, no matter how difficult that it is, we have to practice. Whether you are monastic or whether you're a lay person, it doesn't matter. Everybody has to be free from suffering. It's not only the monastics, right? Everybody has to be free from suffering. So we all have to practice this. And even the Tibetan monastic scholars, they may say, oh, it's a very difficult thing. Particularly younger scholars may say it's a very difficult thing. Don't pay heed to them, don't listen to them, right? If somebody says this is difficult, so this is how we have been remaining in samsara, because we think that it's difficult. We never come out of samsara. Now it's good enough. Do something else. Do something difficult, right? Yeah. So thus far we said difficult, and we never came out of samsara, right? And we don't want to be in samsara. So now we attempt to do something which we never did before, right? We're already rich in doing these objectifying things, objectively existent. We're already expert in that. Now we'll do the other thing and see whether it helps us. Okay. For that matter, what we do is that, of course what we're doing here seems to be very simple. But to what extent this experience, this meditation can take you to the level of anatta, emptiness, selflessness, or anatman, it depends on various other factors, many other factors. You're getting it? Right? So don't just think that, so this meditation itself is the final emptiness and it's very easy. No. Right? Same thing, for example, what we discussed yesterday, that commit no evils, accumulate as great wealth of virtues as possible, tame your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. We can explain this to a very simple young child, age 5, age 6. We can teach this. And we can teach to a PhD student in Buddhist philosophy, right? In a very complicated way. So the same meditation that we're doing, for a beginner, it's easy. For the more advanced, for somebody who's more exposed to the studies, and they can see the same thing in a very nuanced understanding. Okay, so the point is that, how do you do this? So what we see, say for example, if somebody says, okay, where is Vishen? Who is to ask us the question? Yes, okay. Vishen raises his hand. Raise your hands. Okay. Vishen's there. And everyone says, oh, Vishen's there, right? Now I'm seeing Vishen. After seeing Vishen, I ask, where is Vishen? I'm seeing him. Still I'm asking, where is Vishen? Right? Okay, tell me, can I ask this question or not? Okay, tell me. Say, I first ask me, where is Vishen, right? So what? You're so eager? Oh, he is there, right? Okay, first question, am I allowed to ask this question or not? Where is Vishen? Is it allowed? Yes. Okay, with a loud voice, you said yes. Then you show me where Vishen is. I saw him. Right? And I'm seeing him still, where is Vishen? This question, allowed, not allowed, according to conventional world. If I ask this question, then you will say, then you will say that, okay, now it's time for you to go to mental hospital. You're getting it? Okay, now look, this is very important. Where you can ask question which is acceptable to the conventional world. This question and analysis, this is known as conventional analysis. You getting it? The moment you cross the border of the conventionality, and then the conventional people have no clue what answer. For example, the table expert, carpenter, the best of the carpenter, who has no philosophy exposure. Right? I asked him, what's in today's world, what's the best trend of the table? Right? Then he will give me a table, explain everything, right? After explaining all these things, then he asked me, are you happy? Then I said, no, I still don't know what is table. Where's the table? The toppling is table. And then there's a table. The first atom is a table. Second atom is a table. He has no answer. Because he doesn't know philosophy. Right? He's so expert in the conventions of the table, but now I reach to a question where he cannot give the answer. The best carpenter cannot give the answer pertaining to the table. You're getting it? So this question, which conventional, the best of the conventionality cannot give the answer, this question is known as ultimate question or ultimate analysis. You getting it? So the moment you cross this border of the conventionality, you go into the ultimate analysis. When you go into ultimate analysis, you will find nothing. The whole concept dissolves. Right? Whole concept dissolves. Okay. Okay, look at the other person sitting next to you. Quickly, look at the person sitting next to you. Right? Okay. Did you look at the other person very seriously? Good. Right? Okay. Now, quickly. Okay. Quickly go into the cellular level. The person is made of the cells. Millions of cells. And the cells are made of nucleus, cytoplasm, cell membrane, and the nucleus is made of chromosomes. Chromosomes made of DNA molecules. The molecules are made of atoms. Stay there. Okay, now what are you seeing? I'm seeing just millions of atoms. Okay, tell me. In this experience, tell me, just stay there, tell me, in this experience, where is this person who earlier made you smile? Where is this person who earlier made you smile? The person disappear. Okay. Where is this person who may be the person in the form of male who I looked at, who I saw as a male, who I saw as a girl? Where is this person, male or a female? Where is that? Dissolve. In this level, the male and the female makes no sense. A person makes no sense. Everything dissolves on this level. Okay, right? Now, if you want to relate to that object as a person, as a male, as a female, you have to come out of this analysis. Come out of the analysis, enter into the conventional analysis. You're getting it? Okay, now come out. Okay, so now how do we do the meditation? So just as what we have done now is that we split ourselves into the say the cells, then the unicellular, the parts, then the nucleus, cytoplasm, so forth, then going deeper there, the chromosomes, and deeper there, and DNA, RNA molecules, then deeper there, the molecules, the atoms. Okay, we just went to... The moment you go into this level, you have already crossed the border of what a person is. What a person is on the conventional level. You have already crossed that. The moment you cross that, you will never find the person. You will never find the person. The person dissolves. You getting it? Okay, so that analysis, where the convention of the person dissolves, that analysis is known as ultimate analysis pertaining to the person. Okay, likewise, Aranigarjuna presented as a beautiful way of that thing. So what the Aranigarjuna said is that if the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Okay, this, whether somebody is following Theravada tradition, Tibetan tradition, or Chinese Mani tradition, it doesn't matter. We all have to do this practice. If we don't do this practice, we are missing the greatest of the legacies of the Buddha Shakyamuni for us. Meditation on anatta, meditation on emptiness, meditation on anatman. Okay, so what Aranigarjuna said in his Precious Garland, this is a beautiful text, you will have to study this. Precious Garland, Ratnamala, the Ratnavali, Ratnamala, same. Precious Garland. So there, the Aranigarjuna said, if the mirage were to be water, while not those close by the mirage see water. Okay, so let us all say this together 3 times. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Okay, this is a very important statement. For example, let's say that if you are seeing me from 1 kilometer away from me, you see me floating in the water. Floating water, you are just wondering whether he's really floating in water or this is just mirage. I see that it's water. So how would you verify that? How would you verify to see if that I'm floating in the water or what you are seeing is just mirage? How would you validate this? How would you verify this? Go closer towards from where the water appeared. You getting it? Then coming closer towards where the water appeared. If it is totally dry, no water in the air, then you would conclude that what I earlier saw was deceptive. You agree with me? What I earlier saw was not water, it was a mirage, it was deceptive. Likewise. Okay, now think of yourself. Okay, let's say maybe, yes, think of yourself. First, let's do the emptiness of the self. Okay, think of yourself. Okay, what am I? I'm a girl, I'm a boy, I'm Singaporean, I'm this person, okay, with this body, with this mind. Okay, just in a very loose way. Don't go into too specific details. Just who is this I? Who is this what is this I, this I, Dorji, with your own name, whatever name. Okay, what is this? Yes, I know this. Okay, this I. Okay. Now just follow the instructions. If this I, this self, were to exist objectively, okay, let's say, then how does this I appear to you? How does this I appear to you? Like a dream which your mind simply projects, nothing really from the object, or like a movie being projected by the movie projector, nothing really there from the object. Or, no, it has nothing to do with the mind, it is solid in the air. How does it appear to you? Of course, as so solidified, as so objectified. It's not that my mind is playing, my mind is creating it. No, it's not like that. That it exists so solidified and objectified. Okay. This is known as self-grasping ignorance. Seeing this self and believing this self to be objectively existent, this is known as self-grasping ignorance. And this is at the core of creating all the fears in our life, creating all the miseries in our life, creating all the pains in our life. But how can I say that this is ignorance? How can I say that this is not the true perception which tallies with the reality? Okay, if this perception is correct, seeing this I to be so objectively real, how do you verify this? Go closer to this object. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? In a like manner, if this I were to exist objectively, why not I see this I as I go closer to this object? Okay. Now imagine that you are going closer to this object. Imagine you go closer to the object. Going closer to the object, first what we see is just a thin layer of the skin. That is not I. You are only interested to see whether there's I or not, whether there's I existing objectively from the object side. You go towards the object, and then whatever is not the I, simply ignore them or just keep them aside and look for the I. Doing so, you first see the thin layer of the skin, which is not you. And behind that is the fatty tissues. That is also not you. And behind that is the cartilages, the muscles, the flesh, the bones, the skeleton, the heart, the lungs, the spleen, the kidney, the intestine, the gallbladder, liver. None of these solid parts is me, 100%. These solid parts constitute what is known as the atoms of earth. Solid part, atom of earth. Atom of earth is not me. Keep them aside. Okay, what is left now? Atom of water. the blood which is pumped in and out by the heart, the different parts of the body. Of course, that is not me. Keep it aside. What's left now? The body heat, the element of fire, the body heat. Of course, the body heat is not me. Body heat rises, body heat drops, and I never increase, I never decrease. The I is just the entity. So therefore, increase, decrease in I makes no sense, but increase, decrease in my body temperature makes sense. So the body temperature, the element of fire, is also not me. Keep that aside. Element of air. Next, air that you breathe in and out. Of course, that is not me. Air simply flows out of my mouth. I don't flow. Of course, the element of air is not me. What is left now? Element of space. Space is vacuum in nature. I'm a solid person. I'm a male. I'm a female. I'm a solid person. The space is vacuum in nature. Space doesn't have a gender. Of course, the space is not me. Element of space is also not me. Keep them aside. What is them? Nothing is left, only the consciousness or the mind. Okay, element of consciousness. Oh, I'm a male. I'm a female. Consciousness does not have a gender. 100% consciousness does not have a gender. And people can see me. People cannot see my consciousness. People cannot see my mind. So even the consciousness is also not me. Okay, keep this aside. What do you see now? Nothing is left there. Stay in this experience for a while. Stay in this experience for a while. Nothing is left there. Okay. Now, if this self truly exists as objectively real from the object, going towards the object, there are only two options to say that this self exists objectively. There are only two options. One is the six elements. Okay, bring to your mind the six elements now. Element of earth, water, fire, air, space, consciousness. All the six elements, put them together. See them individually. They are all independent entities. Okay, if the self, we have gone too close to its object, what we saw is that we saw the six elements. And none of the six elements is you. You are only interested in the self, I. And none of six elements, we are certain that none of six elements is you. Keep them aside. Okay, next. Keeping them aside, is there a self which is different from the six elements? Different from six elements also not there, 100%. So it's not one with the six elements, not different from the six elements. So this self is empty. Going towards the object, we see that self is empty of being one with the parts, six elements, and different from the parts, six elements. So it's not one with the parts, different from the parts. So nothing's really left there as a self on the object. These are two only possibilities, and none of the two possibilities is true. Okay, now stay in this experience. Where's the self? You become very sure that because that none of these two things work, the six elements are not a self, different from six elements is not a self. Where's the self? Self is not really there from the object side. 100% is not really there from the object side. Stay in this experience for a while. Two questions. One, what are you seeing now? I'm just seeing the six elements. You are seeing the isolate of the six elements. Second question, where is this I? This I is absent. It disappears. It is absent. You are seeing the absent, isolate of the absence of the flower. Of these two isolates, isolate of six elements and the isolate, not the flower, sorry, isolate of the emptiness of the self. Of the two isolates, you use the first isolate as the stepping stone to get to the second isolate of the absence of the person, absence of the objectively existent person, emptiness of the person. Of the two, focus on the second. The moment the six elements come to your mind, you are not meditating on emptiness. You are not meditating on emptiness. Six elements, they are not negative phenomena. Emptiness is always a negative phenomena. Six elements are positive phenomena. They are not negative phenomena. They are positive phenomena. So therefore, the moment 6 elements come to your mind, you're by no means you're meditating on emptiness of the self. So, then how to get to this emptiness of the self? Just ask this question. It's a very difficult part. Just ask this question. Where is the self? The two questions. What are you seeing? I'm seeing the 6 elements. Still, this is not meditating emptiness. Where is the self? This self disappears. It is empty. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay. In this experience, should a tinge of fear comes to you, should a tinge of bliss comes to you, should a tinge of calmness come to you, you are in a proper track. It doesn't mean that you got emptiness, but you are no doubt in a proper track towards emptiness. Okay, slowly come out of this meditation. Come out, come out, come out. Okay, so now with this, let us turn to page 205. Page 205. Page 205. In the middle, page 205 of the blaze of non-dual bodhicittas. The blaze of non-dual bodhicittas. It reads R. N. Nagarjuna's precious garland, which reads, if the person is not earth, okay, now I'll just read and you listen to me. If the person is not earth, not water, not fire, not air, not space, not also consciousness, and not all of them, where is the person out of those? Okay, this is one way of understanding. So, this is the meditation which we did. So His Holiness the Dalai Lama always advises people to memorize these stanzas by heart, right? And then employ them in a meditation. For example, in Tibetan, this is Kibu Samin Shumai, Meme Lumen Namkami, Namshe Mayu Kumena, Teleshin the Kibukan. This is the stanza. And the next one, the Kibu come to Dubeshiri, Andama and Shidava, the Shinkam Nereri, and Dushiri and Nidumen. This is the Tibetan version. So, in your case, you can memorize this in English. Or the Mandarin, whichever is more, say, the easy for you, right? The thing is that as the words come to your mind, meaning must be reflected. If you memorize in Tibetan, for you to have the meanings reflected in your mind is more difficult. For me, right? But in my case, it's very strange. I don't know nowadays in what language I'm meditating. In Tibetan or English, I don't know. Because almost all my teachings are happening in English. And almost, except for a few occasions, I speak only in English all the time because of the interaction with the people, right? So even my thought process, they go into English. So mornings, when I'm taking the shower, I meditate on emptiness of the water, the water that flows through my body. This is also empty of objective existence. Even this person who is being washed, even this is also empty of objective existence. One thing like this, my mind was going through this English word, English language, right? If the person is not earth, water, fire, air, not the Tibetan word, Kibu Sami Chumai. Tibetan word is not flowing, English word is flowing. Right? Okay, I don't know now. I'm got mixed up. I'm confused now. Okay, so the point is that for you, pick up that language which gives you the meaning so easily, where you don't have to struggle, right? Whereas for some people, we never know. Some people say there is the special, affinity for language. Affinity for language, they can easily shift their language. If you belong to this category, then of course the Tibetan version and Sanskrit. Better would be Sanskrit, right? And then Tibetan version. These two stand in these two languages. The great saints recited this in the Tibetan language, in the Sanskrit language, so many times, and also in Pali language, so many times, right? So many times, meditated on the basis of these stanzas. Okay, the R. N. Nagarjuna stanza, of course, in Sanskrit, right? So the point is Sanskrit or in Tibetan language, and of course, the Chinese. So many Chinese, for example, Chinese Buddhism is much, much older than Tibetan Buddhism. Buddhism from Nalanda, they went to China, say 300 years, 400 years before it came to Tibet. So therefore, so so many no doubt, so many Chinese saints evolved, practitioners evolved. Learn it. Not just a practitioner, right, reciting Om Mani Padme all the time, right? I don't mean to be sarcastic, but the point is that this is a fact that we accept. Some people, they are so naive, simply because somebody is in isolation, in isolation for 10 years, 20 years, like this, reciting Om Mani Padme, you think it's a great saint, but we never know. But generally speaking, this is how we are not to judge somebody as a great saint. Great saint means somebody should know what you're meditating. Right? And gate, paragate, all these steps are there. Right? And the wisdom of emptiness, without the wisdom of emptiness, gate does not happen at all. Right? And particularly say the first gate is possible without the wisdom of emptiness. You can have the first gate. But to the second gate, without the wisdom of emptiness, you cannot get there. Forget about the paragate, parasamgate, bodhisoha. So therefore, must be learned and a practitioner. That is so precious. So therefore, say the seeing around, particularly the places around, say in the monastic universities, like Sera, Ganten, Depong, and then the monastic universities, very full-fledged monastic universities in Sakya, Kaiku, Nyingma, Gelug, all the traditions. So there, of course, there are many scholars and meditating, but then who are traveling around in the world, so there really is very rare that the scholars actually travel, very rare, right? So therefore, from this point of view, say for example, TBC having Geshe and Allah, and then say ABC having the very good teachers there, you are very lucky. This is very rare. Of course, in the monastic university, the number is huge. Great scholars and great practitioners, many. But actually the great scholars traveling around the world is so less. And so therefore I don't want to go beyond that point, right? The point is that it is very lucky for somebody for TBC to have Geshe and Allah, for ABC to have your teachers. This is so lucky, it's so rare, right? So therefore the point is that the scholarly knowledge, you learn it, and whether you practice or not, this is up to the individual, right? Even if you don't practice it, it is far better than somebody who is not learning it at all. Right? If you so learn it and not practice it, suddenly the person may become sick. Oh, now my dad is coming, I have to practice, right? Ingredients are ready. Right? The person already knows how to meditate. Right? Instantly will go into it like a rocket. Where somebody does not have the ingredients, right? Okay, what's the point of learning all these things and then they're not practicing? What's the point of this? It's just better not learn. You say like this, you don't learn anything. And then suddenly you reach age 20, 30, 40, 50, suddenly you become sick, right? You become sick, oh, I have to practice dharma, no ingredients, right? And then to build ingredients, it takes so much of time, right? And you are sick, you cannot go to the teacher. A teacher cannot come to you just for yourself, right? To teach all these things, A, B, C, D, right? So therefore the point is that to study is so precious, and to meet with teachers, particularly for example, places away from the big learning centers, there to meet with teachers who are really learned is so precious. So we have to don't just think that, oh, Singapore, we have many teachers, I can go to TBC, I can go to ABC, there are so many teachers there. Don't take things for granted like this, because it's like a dream. We cannot decide a dream, right? And there are so many people I know, so many people in other places, who crave for such learning. When we first introduced the Nalanda Master's course, right? People who are just craving for these things, right? His Holiness has been always encouraging study the Nalanda philosophy. And then they receive teachings from His Holiness, they receive teachings from this Lama, this Geshe, this Rinpoche, this Lama, this Geshe, this Rinpoche. Nothing really they're able to consolidate. They cannot consolidate all these things. So they want to then say, okay, then the teachings, Noble Truths, Four Noble Truths. Again, next teaching, Four Noble Truths. Again, teaching on impermanence. Again, teaching on Four Noble Truths. So Four Noble Truths, then find the truth of the cessation of suffering. How the cessation of suffering? Emptiness. Okay, emptiness is difficult. Okay, finish. Again, the next teaching, other Four Noble Truths. Again, some truth, emptiness. Okay, little difficult. So then, when can we? And emptiness. For this, you have to study Acharya Chandragiri's text and then finish. And next time, again somebody says, again you have to study Acharya Chandragiri's text and finish. Where can I learn Acharya Chandragiri's text? No place to go. No place to go, right? For here, in Singapore, you have two good places to go. When there are so many places where people don't have any place to go, right? Okay, so there, then when we started this Nalanda Master's course and the Nalanda Diploma course, people were so happy. They describe it as, we have found an oasis. Right? So therefore what I'm saying is that to meet with such a dharma, particularly from the teacher side to do things in a very easy way, and the student side so wanting the shortcut. Right? Okay, when these two things meet, is wonderful. Right? Then the students, they feel that I'm in a safe heaven, and the teachers think that I've many students, right? Okay, this is a problem. So whereas somebody who really teaches the hardcore of the Buddhist philosophy, that is so rare. So how do we know this? How do we know this? As you grow older, age 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and the moment you reach 30, then time flies, right? Time flies. I could not believe, right? When High Rinpoche, one of my teachers, passed away, and then suddenly, and I thought it's just 1 year, and then suddenly the reincarnation, who's 6 years old, already came up. What is this? 6 years gone. I could not believe. Time flies. Okay, so the point is that as you grow older, right, you become more and more happy. Don't forget it. As you grow older, you become less and less irritable. Right? You become less and less affected by external factors. You start seeing others as more and more childish. Right? What are they doing? This, that, right? This Rinpoche, that empowerment. Oh, this is the last empowerment, very rare empowerment. You see this, right? You see this. Oh, poor small children. When you start feeling like this, means that you are maturing. But if you're not doing it at all and you see this poor children, you're also a child. Right? You mature, you become happier. Instead of feeling nostalgic over your youth, you become happier. You see that now I'm much happier, much more happy as compared to when I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If that is happening, you are into proper track. And that a genuine study, reflection, and meditation is taking place in you. You're getting it? Whereas if this is not happening, right? And then say as you grow older, physically you're becoming more handicapped. Then you become more and more nostalgic over the earlier youth, where your body is so agile, flexible. Wherever you go, everybody smiles at you, right? Right? So everybody smiles at you, talk to you, right? Oh, we go to a cup of tea. What is that? McDonald's, right? You go there. So just within a short span of time, we can do so many things, so easily, so conveniently. And then slowly, age 40, 50, 60, right? We have to stand up with the difficulty, right? Okay, then sit. Well, I was actually just in my 20s then. When I said uppale. I said uppale. This is a different version of saying hayo, like, say feel. And then there's another monk from Buriyat. Buddhist monk, he must be in his 40s then. He told me that, oh, Dorji, you say appale, which means this is a sign of old age. I was just in my 20s, 22 or 23. He said, this is a sign of old age. And, okay, I was so demoralized. Okay. Now if somebody tells me, I don't mind. I'm 50 now. By 22, he said that it's a sign of old age. Okay, it doesn't matter. So the point is, that what I'm saying is that as you grow older, your body becomes less and less and less flexible. Body becomes more and more handicapped. And then what happens is that in your mind, whatever is wonderful for you, whatever is wonderful for you, that is what your mind will cling to. And then, what are the wonderful things? For a mature person, for the yogis and the common people. Right? We learn yogis and the common people. Yogis, they think about the internal maturation, and the common people, they think about the physical wonders. Right? So, because that we are not exposed to the internal wonders, only wonder that you are left with is the wonder about the external wonder. So, external wonder is waning, it is disappearing. Right? So, when did you have the external wonder? When did you have the wonder with respect to you? When you were young. That time is gone. So you become nostalgic. You're getting it? You feel that, okay, I missed that part. Okay, so now I'm old. I miss that, my youth. This is because you are attracted by the wonder of the physicalities. Whereas you grow older, physically you become less, more handicapped, but you mind is becoming happier. Why? Because for you, it's not just the physical wonder. Physical wonder and the mental wonder, internal wonder. Of the two, internal wonder far excels the physical. Right? For example, the happiness that you get out of the wisdom of emptiness and the happiness that you get out of sharing a Coca-Cola with your, say, very young girl, young boy, you are age 20, and the boy age 20, your age 20 boy, age 20 girl, sharing Coca-Cola there. That happiness, and it happens with the internal wonder, the wisdom of emptiness. The wisdom of emptiness happiness far excels that. So because of which, as you grow older, you feel that, wow, I'm so lucky who I am now. That, so younger days I was just a small childish. Pure, very childish. Now I'm so happy. If that is happening, this can happen only if you have seen the wonder through study, reflection, and meditation. Right? Okay. And meditation, people may not have study and reflection, may go into meditation directly. And some people have to study, reflection, meditation. What's the difference? The difference is like, I would be bold enough to tell this here, right? The difference is like, say, there are two people who are handling the fixing a car, and say both spend 5 years. Okay, and NSU, NUS, there's engineering. Okay, say one went through engineering, the NUS, how many years engineering?
4 years.
4 years, okay, 4 years engineering. And another boy was just in the garage, right? No NUS, 4 years engineering, and always with the apprenticeship. Always with somebody, and we're looking how the person is fixing the car, wheel, these things. Then in 4 years. And another boy finished NUS, right? 4 years. Both are very smart. Okay, so tell me, who really knows what they're doing? The one who finished the NUS and the one who just into the garage. The one who, say, what I'm saying is that the one who graduated from NUS, what he does will decide from hundreds and thousands of cars. Whereas the boy who is not trained through NUS, just in the garage, will fix only one car at a time. Right? No 100,000 cars. Because the one who graduated from this one, so just do the design, right? Design hundreds, thousands of cars design is already made, and the 1,000 cars will be produced on the basis of his design. You're getting it? Whereas this person who is just with the garage all the time, he cannot do that work. So therefore, study, reflection, meditation through a proper channel, you will see the vastness of the spiritual realizations, the vastness and the depth. Whereas without the study and reflection, just go into the practice, you will just see one person or one part of what you have been going through, that's it. You will not see the vastness of the ocean. You just see the pond. Just see a tiny well. Okay, this difference. With this in mind, right? Okay, so when we meditate emptiness of the self, emptiness of person, what we do is we first go through the self. Does self exist or not? What's the answer? Yes. So when you say yes, you are in with which analysis? Conventional analysis. Then from there, to meditate on emptiness of the self or the selflessness of the person, then you go into the ultimate analysis. How do we go about into the ultimate analysis? You just cross the border of the conventionality of the person. Right? When you cross the border of the conventionality, then you go into the different parts. Okay, the different parts, and then don't forget the two questions. What are the two questions? The first one is, okay, going to the ultimate analysis. First question, what am I seeing? I'm seeing the 6 elements. Right? The second question, where is this I? This I disappears. It is empty. You're getting it? Okay. Of the two, you have to, when you say, I'm just seeing the 6 elements, this is not meditative emptiness. The second one, when you say, where's the I? This I disappears. The moment you say this I disappears, and goosebumps can come on the body. In some cases, not all. In some cases, goosebumps can come on the body, and a tinge of a tickling sensation, a wave of tickling sensation can happen, right? Okay, and then a tinge of fear can come in you. And then in some cases, a tinge of bliss can come in you. In some cases, a tinge of calmness can come to you. It can differ from individual to the individual. And in some cases, it may not happen. It doesn't matter. The point is that you just keep doing this, and then study more, keep studying more to enrich this practice. Then slowly you can have these experiences. The fear, the tickling sensation, goosebumps and so forth can happen. Okay, when this happen, it doesn't mean that you got 100% emptiness, right? Emptiness, what we learned was that there are 5 levels. Selflessness of permanent, unitary, independent self. What is the second one? Selflessness of selves. What is selflessness of autonomous of sensual reality? Okay, English translations may differ. Right? English translations may differ, so don't be too rigid with the English words. English words are all borrowed again. Right? So don't be too rigid. My translation may vary from other people's translation, don't worry. So as long as you know the meaning, you should be able to adapt to the other translation easily, right? Okay. The emptiness and the selfless and autonomous of sensuality. Number 3 is selfless of external reality. Number 4 is selfless of true existence while not rejecting objective existence. And then finally, the selflessness of objective existence, inherent existence, intrinsic existence, independent existence, true existence, absolute existence, ultimate existence, and existence from its own side, existence from one's own characteristics, and so forth. Okay, so there are 5 levels. Of the 5 levels, we don't know. When you say meditation, even if a tickling sensation, goosebumps come in the body, this experience of the voidness, no doubt, when tickling sensation, goosebumps come in the body, which means that the experience of voidness, something void, negative phenomena, non-affirming negative phenomena comes to you. What that is, whether it's the first level, first selflessness, the second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, that depends on how profound your studies, how extensive you have studied, how extensively you have reflected upon, and how precisely you have identified the object of negation. Right? If you identify object of negation, just as the permanent, independent self, when you reject it, simply the selfless, autonomous, self-sense of permanent unitary independent self will come to you, and not the subtler ones. So it depends on many factors. So therefore, the need for extensive study is very important. Meanwhile, this meditation, just see that you make it a part of your daily life to meditate on emptiness. Okay, so what I would say, some people were asking if you can do the meditation, like say while you take a walk, or while you go into the metro, MRT, or say while you are whatever. So it's totally fine. But what I would suggest is that, if possible, always at least keep like 5 to 10 minutes, at least 5 to 10 minutes of a separate session a day. Sitting meditation. Sitting meaning, it doesn't mean that you have to sit cross-legged. You can sit on a chair, you can sit on cross-legged, whatever. But there must be a proper session. At least 5 to 10 minutes of proper session, right? That is very important. Then, outside this, say when you're taking a shower, right? You're brushing your teeth, right? And taking a shower, the water that is flowing. What is this water? What is water there? What is this? H2O. It is hydrogen, oxygen, and the hydrogen is one electron, one proton, one neutron, and the electron is not the hydrogen, the proton is not the hydrogen, and oxygen has 16 protons, neutrons, and electrons, and none of these proton electrons, the oxygen. Where's the water? Water is just my mind creates. Just a perception takes place in my mind. So water. Beyond that, from the object, there's not really this water. Even the water is empty. And even the self, what I call as Dorji, where is this Dorji, who I consider so precious, the most important thing in this universe. Where is this person? He's just the 6 elements on earth. Water, fire, air, space, consciousness, and none of these 6 elements is the person. Where is this Dorji? Again, it's empty. It's just an illusory appearance coming to my mind. Beyond that, there's nothing really. There's the Dorji. By dependence on these 6 elements, which are not at all Dorji, then my mind constructs a person known as the Dorji. Just a subjective appearance. Beyond that, there's not really the Dorji. Okay, then when you brush teeth, right? Oh, so this is how you practice outside the session meditation. And then of course, it may turn out to be like a joke, but I'm very serious. Don't think of meditation when you drive. I'm very serious on this. I'm very serious. Driving, just within a split of a second, you can have accident, right? So make sure that you don't think of emptiness when you drive, right? Except for driving, what are the things? Cooking, yes. Cooking is not really dangerous. Cooking is not really too dangerous. Operating complicated machineries, yes. Hiking, right? Or when you're hiking, you just hold on it, stay there for a while, and you think about emptiness, right? When you move, don't do. When you move, don't do, right? Okay, what else? What I can think of now is the most dangerous assisted driving, right? Okay, so accordingly, you say, so once you know driving, don't do it. Then if there's a situation which is very similar to driving, you just miss a small part, just some split of a second, such accidents can happen, then at that point you don't meditate on emptiness, right? So otherwise, if you are a passenger in the car, you can meditate, right? If the driver hits another car, is it not your mistake? You can't do anything, right? Whether you meditate, you don't meditate, the driver is bound to hit another car. You can't do anything. So meditation is a benefit for you, extra thing, right? Okay, so the point is that when you're a passenger yourself, and then you can think about emptiness. This is so important part. So the point is that our chronic illness, what is a chronic illness? Self-grasping ignorance. And self-grasping ignorance is really a chronic. It's a chronic. Because there is a chronic, the chronic means self-grasping ignorance has reached to such a height of sophistication. Self-grasping ignorance has reached such a height of spontaneity. It has reached such a height of intensity, right? High quality intensity, and the spontaneity is there with the self-grasping ignorance. Because of that, then the offshoots in the form of attachment, anger, jealousy, so forth, they are of high intensity and spontaneous. You getting it? You agree with me? Okay, now this said, so simply because we are in dharma doesn't mean that we are so perfect. Right? Okay, from tomorrow onwards, there's no anger, no attachment, no jealousy, nothing, right? If it happens, what's the point of going to TPC? What's the point of going to ABC? This is not the case. The point is, finally, no one else is going to be your judge. The Buddha said, you are your own judge. Right? See that in your mind, if you can be short-tempered, say like 80% short-tempered, and because of going to ABC, TPC, right? And then the discussing with your, say, the colleagues. If over, say, 1 year, so from the 80-degree short-temperedness, it drops to 84-degree. This is a great mark of success. It's amazing. Oftentimes what happens? 84, right? And 84, it can shoot up. It can shoot up. In most cases, shoots up. In some cases, because of the age, the person becomes more docile, more calm. It's not because of the actual calmness, because he or she is very experienced, right? Knows exactly where to show anger. Very experienced. Right? This is not because of the actual calmness. Right? Whereas, with the practice, if it drops at a given situation where your irritation again erupt, it does not erupt. If you can see that from 85, it drops to 84, 80, 79. 79, it is way above average. Still, ordinary people will classify you as a very short-tempered person. But somebody who is very close to you, they can see the difference. But other people will still classify you as a very short-tempered person because you are above average. Then, only when you drop to 60, 59, 55, 50, then around that time, then you become more like what ordinary people consider as normal. Right? Normal. Okay, now he's not really short-term, it's more normal. Anybody can do it. So this you reach that level, average. Right? And then through further practice, you become, say, 45, 40, 30, 35, 20, right? Drop like this, you are way, say the calmer than the ordinary average people. Then the ordinary people will see you as very different. Getting it? You see as very different, and this is the mark of the successful practice. So it will take time. It will take time. The point is that we have to keep doing it, and how to intensify that, right? To make it spontaneous, keep doing it. How to intensify this? We have to enrich this with the more studies, more reflection. You're getting it? Are it possible? So whatever questions coming up as you grow in this journey, your questions may not be as numerous as earlier times, but the question that you might have will be very more precise and more profound. So for this, you have to have, say, more discussions with other people, with your colleagues, with teachers, and so forth. And you may not get a very satisfactory answer from one person. You may not get a very satisfactory answer even from your teachers, right? So there, 2 efforts are required. You put effort, don't just leave everything on somebody else to give the answer, right? So at a certain point, once you get the main structure of the practice, structure of the study, reflection, and the practice, then your job is to put your own effort. Okay, this is what I learned from there. The text says like this, and I don't understand it. There's a little bit of, say, I cannot really, you don't say that there's a contradiction, right? Oh, I disagree with you. Don't say it easily. At the most, what you can say is that okay, I really don't understand what you said. You said like this, and I don't really understand. I understood it like this, right? Don't try to say that, okay, the Buddha said it like this, but I disagree with the Buddha, right? Don't go to such extent right away, right? Okay, so the point is that this is how we should be following gate, gate, paragate. Okay, so now with this we go back to the main text, page 11 of chapter 9. Okay, so this is the same thing you will see taught in the two ways. Here as a part of the selfless person, and then say in a different section as a part of the mindfulness of the body. So the analysis, the meditation. Okay, stanza 57. Teeth, hair, and the nails. What we did is the 6 elements. We already did the self. We dissect the self into these 6 elements. So what Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra is doing, that is into more detail within the body, element, the aggregate of the body, right? Going to the details of the aggregate body. For example, teeth, hair, and nails are not the self, nor is self and bones or blood. Self is neither mucus nor phlegm, nor is self lymph or pus. Self is not fat nor sweat, neither is self the lungs nor liver. Self is not any of the other visceral organs, internal organs, neither is self feces nor urine. Flesh and skin are not a self, nor is self heat or wind, heat or air, element of fire, and the wind is element of element of air. In no way is self one of the bodily orifices, meaning the openings, nor are the 6 types of consciousness, nor the consciousness. So, in a way, what the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra is included here in a very detailed form of the fact that the self is not one of the 6 elements. You're getting it? So with Nagarjuna said, the self is not the earth, water, fire, air, space, consciousness, and not all of them. Where's the self out of these? Just as self does not exist objectively, because it is constituted of 6 elements, each of the 6 elements is also not objectively existent because they are constituted of their own constituents. Okay, this is what Nagarjuna, in a very, very succinct form, very comprehensive form, that the Nagarjuna presented. So this is the exactly from. So now that this is the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra's presentation here, and then Nagarjuna presented there. Of the 2, you can use any of the 2, right? You can use any of the 2. It's up to the individual. Okay, this is it. Now we will skip these parts. This is all the repetition of the self as believed by the non-Buddhist traditions. Either the self to be different from the body and the mind. Okay, I'll quickly explain something for us. This is very important. In this universe, believe it or not, with respect to you, this I is the most important one. Yes? No? Yes. Okay. So now this I, because it is so important, the philosophers, thinkers meaning people who really contemplate, what is this I, which is seen as the most important entity in this world, in this universe? What is this I? Then the thinkers, they started to explore. You getting it? Till the Buddha Shakyamuni, thinkers, they thought that there is a self, which, okay, this body, this is not the self. This mind is not a self. And some say, yes, the mind is a self. Some say, this mind is not a self. So there's a self which is different from the body and the mind. The body and mind is like the clothes. You can remove the clothes, you can put new clothes. Likewise, the self is different. When you die, you leave the body and the mind disintegrates or whatever. And then the self is ejected from this body and travels to other places, to the next birth, or go to heaven or to go to hell, right? How long they stay is up to that is decided by the doctrine, right? Okay, so hell, heaven. So this is what people believe. And Okay, I may be taking too far away steps, it doesn't matter. But be very careful. When you share these thoughts, we must know the place, time. Whether time is correct, or the place is correct, or the person is correct. Right? Don't just, Geshe said it, and we can say it anywhere. Right? And you may end up in problem. Okay. So the thinkers, they thought about these concepts as to what is this self, which is so important, which determines why we make all these rules, regulations, the government rules, regulations, because if we create these rules and regulations, then these people will be hurt, people will be injured, right? So one person can bully other things, should not be bullied. Why this is very important? Who is important? The self is important. Okay. So this self is so what is the self? This question. So the thinkers, they thought about it very seriously. So the conclusion that they came up with, more like a consensus, till the Buddha Shakyamuni appeared, was that there's a self which is different from the body, which is different from the mind, and some say it's a mind, actually it's the mind. It's just there's nothing different from the mind. The self is this mind. And some say no, self is different from the mind and the body, and when you die, so you leave the body and mind, and the self in the form of the soul, in the form of the self, the person, it moves to the next birth, or wherever it has to go, it goes.
Nick. 换多一个。那 choose another one, choose another. Jason 帮我给另外一个。
Okay, yes, this new battery. Okay, also now, before lunch, okay, what is self is? So the people really thought about it. And in most likelihood, right, when I say in most likelihood, what I'm saying is it is. Right? To be very diplomatic, I say in most likelihood. Okay, that people then say, okay, you are a little bright. You think about these thoughts, what is the self and so forth. And then people, they trust you because they see you as more bright than others. And then, there's a self. Yes, this is very important. And the person really thought about it. And then started to jot down the points. And then say the people who trust me very easily, right? Like the small child who looks at the father. Whatever the father says, yes, he says yes. Right? So these people are around them. Right? And then he or she shares these thoughts with these people. And they say that my guru said it. My guru said it. Our guru said it. Right? And the person dies. When the person dies, these thoughts that he shared become even more valuable because nobody can verify this now. Right? Then they will go into the book. Then this book becomes holy book. Actually said by somebody who gets thought to it, right? And then some kind of thought came and that was jotted down. Now this becomes holy book. Nobody can alter this. Right? Nobody can alter this. Okay, I don't want to take more steps. Okay, good. So this is how all this philosophy came into being. Then, 2,500 years ago, the Prince Siddhartha came. who was so audacious, so courageous to say what is not true is not true, right? Not like me, who said diplomatically, right? Not like me. In most likelihood, no, he was very straightforward. He said that such a self is non-existent, right? The book which came was actually written by somebody, not came from the sky. Written by somebody who thought about it and who got some idea and jotted it down. And then it became a holy book because of the students. Students, they said that it is a holy book. Whosoever says against this will be killed. Right? This is what happens. So the Buddha, this Prince Siddhartha, was very audacious, very courageous, not like me. Very courageous. Said that what is said about the self to be objectively existed, what is said about self as permanent, unitary, independent, this is wrong. Right? This is wrong. And don't believe me, don't trust me. Examine my words. Subject them to scrutiny. Like the gold, cutting, rubbing and burning. You should also examine my words and put them into practice, not simply because you respect me. Not simply because you think that you are my students, so therefore you have to follow me. No, don't follow this. This is a wrong approach. This is a blind faith approach. Right? You must follow to discover the reality. Don't invent the reality. This is what the Buddha said. Right? So in this connection, this is where the Buddhist philosophy and the non-Buddhist philosophy splits. The self pertaining to this identification of self. What this self is. Whether self is permanent, unitary, independent or not. So when you say that this self is permanent, unitary, independent, you fall in the category of the non-Buddhist traditions. And when you say that self is not permanent, unitary, independent, it is there, but it's not permanent, unitary, independent, you go into the philosophy of Buddhism. Okay, this is how we demarcate between these two things. Now, what we do is that we don't go through this in detail. So what we go is, we turn to page 13. We'll just skip all these things. Okay, sorry. Okay, yes, just the rejecting the self to be permanent, unitary, independent, right? So we'll not go into this part. You can read, and there are also commentaries there. It's fine. And then we have how many stanzas left now? Total 167 stanzas are there. Almost 100 left. Right? Okay. So what we do is we'll skip to up the page 13, stanza 70, right? Stanza 70. Okay, so lunch break. Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisatvatya